What up, is Marcus? If you're looking for some DFS plays or some plays to get streamers off the waiver wire, or if you have some roster decisions here that you're battling, we are going to do some starts of the week today, and we do starts of the week every Thursday. We have some sits of the week every Friday. Some tricky players that we feel like are going to actually bomb your team and actually prevent you from winning. I can even give you some starts of the week that we did last week. If you want to watch the video, you can always watch the video just to make sure that I'm being honest and truthful. But I thought we did well with starts of the week last week, so that can kind of give us some repertoire for next week. And I feel like this year has been pretty not easy, but I think it's been pretty well. Derek Carr against the Chiefs, I said that was the start of the week. I think he did well. Kirk Cousins against the Bears, he did well. Jaguars running backs, both of them against Houston is what I said. And hey, they both did. I mean, Travis Etienne, he was kind of that flex play. James Robinson, he was a disappointment. Oops. And then I said Herbert / running back against the Vikings. At that point, we didn't know David Montgomery was going to play or not, and David Montgomery was amazing. Damian Harris versus Lions, not good. But the sound process was right. Ramondre Stevenson had a great game. It was just Damian Harris got hurt, and you can't predict injuries here. Olave against Seahawks scored, did well. Christian Kirk against Houston, not good. That game was a total dud fest. Tyler Lockett against the Saints. Man, he was against me in like every league, and that hurt. He did really well. Pitts ended up getting injured, so that was a no-go. Gerald Everett against the Browns, that was that was not good. And Njoku, that was good. And then Higbee versus Cowboys. So really, we had some winners, we had some losers. Let's go through this week. We're going to do quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Starts of the week, starting now. Let's go. All right, the first one is probably a player. Of course, you're not going to get him off the waiver wire. He's a top 8 quarterback. But it's Kyler Murray against the Seahawks. It's just, this is the week to continue to start him. It's one of those, or DFS. Like, DFS, this is a great play here. The Seahawks have been horrible on defense. And so I'm trying to start a lot of players from this game because I feel like Seahawks are going to, again, get in one of these scoring matchups. Look at them against the Lions. Look at them against the Saints. It feels like they've been in these, 60-point games. Both teams have been scoring 28, 30, 35 points. And so I want Kyler Murray in DFS, and I am honestly having a very confident start with him this week. Our next one is Brady against the Steelers. Steelers have let up 17.9 points in fantasy to 4 of the 5 quarterbacks. Again, they have been very bad on defense with TJ Watt being hurt, and Brady and any of his weapons along to go with that. So I'm not saying that Chris Godwin or Mike Evans are starts of the week because they're already going to be started in 99% of the situations. But just know that this is going to be a better week than normal for these type of players. And so start them. And then kind of my streamer, stay away from the Marcus Mariota this week. This would be more of a Geno week. Geno versus the Cardinals. Again, that I feel like that game is going to be a really good game. Cardinals have had 3 games where they've let up 19 points per game to the quarterback position. So I see Geno having a really good game here, and he's available still in some of these leagues, even though he's been a top 12 quarterback. So definitely a start there. Now let's go to some running backs. And I know that the quarterbacks were not super deep, but let's go through some running backs here. Breece Hall versus the Packers. 15 plus in 3 straight games that Breece Hall has had. The Packers got, I would say, semi-torched by Saquon Barkley. And so I think Breece Hall, this is going to be the turning point. Last week was a turning point. He got 2 small touchdowns, 1-yard touchdowns, taken away because of Michael Carter. That's not going to happen every week. But he's also not going to have 200 yards, 197 total yards of offense every week. He could have 100 and a touchdown, and you're going to have yourself a start of the week. And then you have Singletary versus the Chiefs. I understand. He had a bad game last week, but the Chiefs are the 4th worst defense against the running back position in fantasy football. And so you have Singletary, who I think this is going to be in a great game. And when you want 7-8 touchdowns in a game, I want as many pieces as I possibly can. And I want Devin Singletary against the Chiefs here. The last one is Melvin Gordon, and I know some people benched him, and some people are worried about the Denver offense, but against the Chargers, who have let up 8 touchdowns, and they have just been a horrible defense, just an absolute horrible defense against the run, I am starting Melvin Gordon, and if you are really in need, I will start Mike Boone in like a flex position. Or I think he'll have like an RB3, kind of like the Travis Etienne of last week. If you're looking for like 10 points, I think that Michael Boone, I don't know if he even goes by Michael Boone, but Mike Boone, this is the potential possibility that you're going to have with Mike Boone. Wide receivers, Michael Pittman, he's had bad weeks the last 2 weeks, but against the Jaguars, who've led up 13 plus points to 4 different receivers here. And I understand, last week the Jaguars looked good, and the defense is actually good, but I think this is going to be a Michael Pittman game. This is probably the riskiest start of the week just because Jaguars have actually been a very good defense. And I just think that Michael Pittman is going to be the target here. Jonathan Taylor, I think they're going to, if he plays, that's a big question mark. If he plays, I think they're going to ease him in. They're not going to give him 25 touches, but who knows? Maybe they do. Maybe they say, oh, Jonathan Taylor's the way to run through the Jaguars, and they're going to win a 16-10 match. That totally could happen. Tyler Lockett ×2. We are back-to-back weeks against the Cardinals. His last 4 games against the Cardinals, it is 29.3 points per game. That means that Tyler Lockett destroys the Cardinals. And again, I want as many pieces. DK is going to be a great start here as well. And we're going to even talk about another start, even deeper, that we're going to go through. And then we have Jacoby Myers versus the Browns. And so Jacoby Myers has had some increased target share here. I understand. Bailey Zappi, not exactly the ideal quarterback that you want, but he's been fine for Jacoby Myers. And against the Browns, I think the Browns are going to put up some points I thought Detroit was going to put up some points last week against the Patriots, and that didn't happen. But maybe finally they can the Patriots can actually throw and actually have a good fantasy wide receiver, because it hasn't been Devontae Parker, it hasn't been Nelson Aguilar, it hasn't been Hunter Henry, it hasn't been anybody in the backfield. I believe that Jacoby Myers is going to be the wide receiver that you're looking for in fantasy-wise. Tight ends, Zach Ertz versus Seattle. I almost said Seahawks, but same thing. They just let up 34.1 to Hill, who's not a tight end, kind of a tight end. Whatever. But against the Seahawks, again, as many pieces as you possibly can. Marquise Brown, Zach Ertz, these are all Kyler Murray. That's why we want as many pieces as a part of this game as we possibly can. You saw Detroit versus Seattle. Think about that. Or you saw New Orleans versus Seattle last week. You saw what happened. Kittle versus the Falcons. Falcons have been letting up 17 points per game to the tight end position. This is where we see a Kittle game. And Kittle either has these games where it's like 4 for 55, or it's like 8 for 150 and 2. And I could see this game being like a 7 for 110 and 2 touchdowns for Kittle. I really hope so, because I am really putting my neck out on the line here for Mr. George Kittle. The last one. And you know what game it's going to be a part of. It's Will Disley. If you are a deep team that really needs a tight end, or you have Darren Waller that's on a bye, or if you have TJ Hawkinson, who's on a bye, Will Disley, I think, will give you enough points where you go back and go, 5 for 40, or 3 for 50 and a touchdown. Like, I'm okay with that. And I think Will Disley is that sleeper, that DFS play, or that guy that can just get you by for that 1 week that you need. And this is the week. All right, so Will Disley. So tomorrow we got sits of the week. Stay tuned for that. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.